Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another composition vlog where I'm going to be bringing you a little bit behind the scenes of the work that I'm doing for the album and how the songs are progressing, and I share a little bit of snippets from some of the songs that you might end up hearing on the album. I really loved making that previous video and it was like, I think you guys also really liked it and found it really informative. And so I want to keep doing more of these vlogs, and if you haven't seen my first episode, I would actually recommend that you go and watch it first so that you can follow a little bit better what's happening here. And so I will leave it in the cards up there and you can go and check the first video before you watch this one. My plan for this video is to show you around 3 of the songs that I've been working on this week. The first one is Autumn's Heart, which I did a lot of updates on, and I talked extensively about that one in my previous vlog. And I want to kind of show you some of the changes that I've done and the things that I changed, so that's super exciting. This one is almost finished when it comes to the pre-production, and the sheet is also pretty much done at this point, so I'm super happy about that. The second one will be Beyond the Lies. It's a song that I wrote for piano, so it's very different, and it's not a metal song, it's more of an acoustic kind of song, so we're gonna see how that goes. And the third one is Call of the Seasons, which is one of my oldest metal compositions. Alright, so let's jump right in. Alright, so I will show you some of the new flute parts that I've added and some of the changes that I've been doing on Autumn's Heart. At this point, I'm definitely doing only small details, so it might not be super noticeable, but probably the biggest change that I've done is add flute parts and change some of the brass parts for flute parts instead. Hey, editing Elvann over here. I completely forgot to mention Autumn's Heart demo is available to download for my patrons, so if you wish to support this channel as well as get some bonus music content, then I will leave a card over there, and I will also leave the link in the description box down below. I also want to take the occasion to thank every single one of you who are already supporting me over on Patreon. It's completely blowing my mind because I think at this point we're 35 people over there, and I never thought something like that would be possible. I can actually start talking of my music as if it's something serious, because before that I felt like nobody cared, and having you guys over there is truly like, I'm honestly without words to explain how grateful I am for that. It's, yeah. Anyways, let's go back to the video. I think that I've changed my intro and I've added some flute instead of the brass, so it sounds a little bit like this. So I really prefer the softness of the flute in this case, because I don't want it to be like a big, huge, like, climax part. I would rather have something a little bit more kind of lyrical sounding, and I think that the flute tone is achieving exactly that. Actually, this idea was suggested to me by one of the people who commented on my video. I don't remember their name, but thank you so much for the idea, because adding flute really made a difference, I think, for this song, and I haven't fully thought about doing that. Next, there was also this other part that I felt was really empty, but I thought that like adding electric guitar to double the violin parts was not so appropriate because of how like empty the space was at this point, and I wanted to keep this effect where like there's less instruments and it's a little bit more sounding a little bit more acoustic in this space, because I like to create a lot of variations in my music. And so what I did is I basically just went ahead and added some flute parts, and I think I have 2 flutes there, and I'm really happy about it. I didn't think of it before, and I think that it's exactly what needed to be there, so I'm really, really happy with that. So let's listen to this part. have one other part at the end that I decided to add flute because I thought that it felt a little bit incomplete if there was only 2 parts with flute, and then in the end where it's like more slow, I don't have any flute. So let's listen to the end of the song. I added some parts, as you can see right here. So this is the flute part. It's not very loud, it's very, very subtle, and it's more in the back. But we'll see what we do on the mixing phase, whether like I put it a bit more forward or a little bit more backward. We're gonna see, but this is how it sounds like. So I'm really excited and really happy about those flute parts because I think they really complete the song and I didn't really think about them. And I'm even more excited because they're gonna be played by my friend Helene and she's gonna do an amazing job at them. I just feel like it's also really nice flute parts that put the flute in a really good light. I might be wrong because I'm not a flute player, but I feel like those parts are very flute-like, and so I hope that she also has some fun recording those parts. I'm super excited to hear how it's gonna sound like with a real flute and also how it's gonna sound like with all of the actual final recordings for this, because this is all placeholder for now, and everything will be recorded from scratch, and we're gonna take the time to actually produce this. I've also done a lot of changes when it comes to the sheet, enough that I had to re-record the harp entirely from scratch, but I usually, like when it's only for the pre-prod, I would only like record something really quick. I make it good enough so that like I don't hate it when I play it, but like I don't pay as much attention to the playing as I will when I actually record the final. But yeah, so like I said the other day on my previous vlog, I changed some of the sections in order to make them a little bit less repetitive, and I've also reworked some of the voicing for the arpeggios because I thought that they repeated themselves a lot, and they're still very repetitive, but at the same time, I don't think it's so much of an issue in terms of there's already so much going on in the song that like I can't have too many things different, or we're just gonna not be able to know what to focus on when we listen to the track. So it's important to take that into account, I think, when writing, that like if everything is all over the place, the attention is not going to be like directed, and sometimes less is more. And I think this is a case where I'm trying to keep the harp arrangements a little bit more I wouldn't say easy, because it's not necessarily easy, especially if I want to sing and play that, but I'm trying to make something that's interesting enough, but that doesn't have like so many changes, but still has a couple of details that make it sound like it's not just like a loop repeated. And a lot of the time I will write this stuff so that like it's easily loopable and it's not too noticeable when it loops back. And the way that I do that is I use voicing, and the voicing is basically the bread and butter of music. That's what makes the music actually pretty, in my opinion. Voicing makes or breaks a song, to my ear at least. If I hear that the voicing is not done properly, it's just bothering me a lot, because I feel like the music just sounds so poor compared to what it can sound like. And so I'm trying to make it interesting enough and work on the voicing, but I'm not overcomplicating the parts. Like, this is relatively easy for me to play, and it's actually quite easy to play, so it's not much of a problem. Like I said, I'm not sure I would play parts like this at the same time as singing. Like, I might be able to, but I usually, when I sing, I like to improv my harp a little bit more and have a little bit more freedom to actually accompany the voice, if that makes any sense. I like to be a little bit more free, but when it comes to writing harp in a metal arrangement specifically, or even I would say an orchestra situation, I need to be super aware that the environment is already so full and there's not that many frequencies that are still available for the harp to shine. So my writing is widely different when I write for harp solo and when I write for metal music. And the thing is, like, on the bottom end of the track, if I write too many harp parts, it's just not gonna sound good. It's gonna sound really muddy. We're gonna barely hear the harp because it doesn't have that kind of clear tone, and it's just really easily lost in a very busy, already busy environment. So what I usually do is I write harp that is a lot higher. I will use more of the like crystal quality of the harp because that's really what I feel is heard through the orchestra or the band or whatever you're writing for. So I'm very, very aware of that, and I always make sure that I record my harp parts and I compose them with the rest of the backing track, because composing them separately just doesn't work. I've actually experienced that with one of my older songs, Carry Me, and I've redone the arrangement about like 5 times. I've redone the harp arrangement and tried to write something, and it just wouldn't work when it would be recorded. Like, I would be able to play it, but it just didn't sound good in a recording, and so I have to be super careful and super aware of this kind of thing when I write harp. The next song we're gonna go through is called Beyond the Lies, and the title is still a work in progress. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be calling the song that way when I release it or not, but for now that's the title that I have. That song was composed about 1.5 years ago, and it was written pretty much in the same period as I wrote One More Time. If you haven't listened to One More Time, I definitely encourage you to go and download it for free. I offer it as a gift when people join my email list, and if you want to get the song and listen to it, you can go ahead and download it. It's going to be in the cards right there. Beyond the Lies and One More Time are 2 songs that I wrote as part of a 30-day challenge, which I actually failed because I was going to TwitchCon at the same time and so many things were happening in my life, and it just was not that much of a good time. But this song was one of the only songs that I wrote that was entirely on the piano, and my goal was to later play it on the harp, and I've tried it, but I felt like it didn't sound as good on the harp, and that was sort of kind of heartbreaking for me because I really wanted to use this song, but somehow like I was not sure if having a piano song was relevant for me, my album, because I'm trying to like set a style and set a certain aesthetic, and this song is definitely out of that aesthetic just from the fact that it's using piano instead of harp. And I've sort of debated myself a lot about that, whether or not I should keep this song, and it's still a bit unclear. I was going to drop it actually, but I've decided to do a bit of work on it because it's almost ready, first of all. But the thing is, last week I was working on another video project that I will be releasing sometime soon, and it's basically a behind the scenes of the album photo shoot. So if you've been on my Instagram, you've probably seen some of the pictures from the photo shoot, but we've also taken a lot of like extra pictures, and we've taken a couple of videos. Thanks to the team, they're so amazing. I'm so happy that they did that. And I basically worked on a whole montage for that, and it's gonna be released on my YouTube sometime soon. I don't know when yet, because that's where the song comes into play. I really want to use Beyond the Lies as the backing track, even if it's just a demo that I'm going to be using. I feel like the song just works really well with the mood somehow, and that's what got me into picking it up, even though I had put it on the shelf for now. So yeah, I was not supposed to work on this one, but I was like, okay, let's give it a chance, and we'll see what happens with it, whether it ends up being released with the rest or not. Before I go further with this song, I want to just play a small part for you, maybe a verse and a chorus or something, just so you can have an idea what the song sounds like and what kind of mood it has. And then I'll comment on what I want to change and what I will be working on for this song and what I like, the challenges and all that stuff. Let's start from like, I guess here, verse 2. Alright, so this piece is basically almost only piano and voice, and it's probably gonna stay like that. I tried to play it on the harp, but it just won't work. It's just not working, and yeah, the harp is great, I love it, but I think for this song the piano is actually more appropriate, and I've been kind of fighting against that because I really didn't want it to be on the piano. But the truth is it's just sounding better like that, so I think I'm gonna have to let go. I'm gonna have to let go and let it be on the piano. And it's actually the way that I wrote it. I played it on the piano for the first time when I actually sat down and played this song. It was meant for the piano anyways, so I'm just really stubborn. But yeah, one of the challenges that I'm coming across with this song is the voice is like so obvious and so in front, and I've had like a lot of issues finding how I want to sing this song. Like, do I want it to be really light or do I want it to be like more dramatic? And I've re-recorded the vocals for this so many times at this point, like and I probably will have to re-record them again, even if they're just reference tracks. I need to have an idea of what I want it to sound like and what kind of performance I want to give. And actually, about a week or something ago, I've been talking about it on my Discord. And by the way, if you're not joined the Discord, the link is in the description box in every single one of my videos, and you can join us there. It's super fun, and we discuss daily, basically. So if you want to join, it's open. You can come, and we're gonna welcome you there. But yeah, so I threw that in the Discord, and I sort of realized that I might, because I believe that I was a lyrical soprano for the longest time, but only recently I had this light bulb moment that I might actually be spinto-soprano. I was trying to make it like delicate and very lyrical. But the truth is, maybe it's just because my voice is not geared for that type of sound that I was aiming for, and I thought that like it's just, oh, I'm not good enough, like my technique needs to be worked on, which I mean it does, but it's an extremely huge change of paradigm for me to realize that my voice might just have a much different sound than I was trying to aim for, and I was trying to fit it into this box of what a lyrical soprano usually or typically sounds like. And now I realize that, yeah, I might be spinto, which like a spinto sounds still quite differently than a lyrical soprano. Like it might bridge a little bit because they're still both sopranos, but I feel like my voice has more of that like piercing quality in it than a lyrical soprano has, which makes it so that sustaining notes for me in the high range is just a lot more difficult, but I have like a very full, very strong, very powerful mid and high mid, and I just like try to back off from it instead of completely falling into it and embracing it, and I might try to record this song again knowing that about my voice. This version that you just heard was dropped by a full tone, actually, because I was like, there's something wrong with it. Like, I feel like I can't get that very kind of lyrical, mellow, buttery feel that I was trying to get with this. And so I changed the key, but I might revert it back. I'm gonna do a couple of tests and see what fits better in my voice and what actually helps my voice come out more. Yeah, like, we'll see. We'll see. It's really interesting for me because, I mean, I've been singing and I've been teaching singing for the longest time at this point, and, well, it's normal. That happens, actually. It's not that uncommon to hear of singers who just got it all wrong all along. And also, the voice changes with time, so that might be a change that I went through. I don't know. I realize that I haven't fully explained what a spinto-soprano is, so I'm gonna try to give you guys a bit of an overview of how the voice works, maybe, or voice classification works. But basically, there's different types of voices. Some of them are soprano, there's mezzo-soprano, contralto, tenor, baritone, and bass. Those are the main big categories, but within those categories, there's still different types of voices that have different type of, or different archetypes for each category of voice. The soprano is the highest female voice, though the classification does not just stop there. Certain sopranos are really agile in the high notes, and they have very clear, very light crystal sound, and those would be, for instance, coloratura. So certain areas, like the Queen of the Night that you guys might have heard of, is usually sung by a coloratura soprano. And sopranos have all basically the same range, but it doesn't mean that they have the same sound everywhere in their range. And so the spinto-soprano is one of the lower types of sopranos, so it's right below the lyrical soprano, who has more of a kind of buttery sort of texture in her high notes, and she's able to support still long phrases and more, I don't want to use the word dramatic, but she still has a lot of power in her voice, I'll use power, I guess. She has a little bit more power in her voice, but she can still achieve those very buttery high notes and sustained high notes. She's not as good with being agile, and that is what I thought I was. But then right under that are the spinto-sopranos, which have a little bit of a lower tone, or they're a bit heavier sopranos than the lyrical sopranos, and they tend to have more of a piercing type of sound. So they're actually pretty rare, and as I said, that's why it probably makes sense that I've been a spinto-soprano, because they're kind of uncommon, and so that's not they're not the default option in the voice teacher's perspective. And so they kind of, I feel like I've sort of been misdiagnosed with my voice, if that makes any sense. But yeah, there's so many different types of voice, and the danger in not knowing exactly what type of voice you are is you kind of expect to make a certain type of sound and to be a certain amount of loud in certain areas in your voice. But when you will definitely struggle to do things that are just not natural for you physically and acoustically, because everybody has their own like physical limitations, because the voice is just like any other instrument. It responds to the same principles of acoustics, and they're just going to be different. Anyways, let's get back to the video again. But I know that in female voices, the higher voices, coloratura or light sopranos, they are usually ready sooner in their career or in their lives. They can be ready at like 18 or 20, whereas like bigger voices take a lot more time. And I think that my voice kind of felt ready for me when a couple of years ago only, like I was maybe 23 or 24, probably more 24 than 23 actually. So my voice was ready really late. I struggled with my technique for the longest time, like trying to get things right. And just all of a sudden, I decided to sing something one day and it just clicked. That was it. I got it. I was able to like consistently use my voice. And it was like an overnight thing. But this is a sign, what I'm trying to mean here actually is that the fact that my voice took so long to feel like it's stabilized is also a sign that I might have a much lower tone or lower quality than lyrical sopranos typically do. I can totally see how it's possible that I missed that. But anyway, it's super interesting, and I will probably re-record those vocals again with that in mind and trying to really see what I can do if I fully commit to this idea that I might be spinto, and we'll see what happens. I'm really curious and excited about that. Alright, so the next song I want to talk to you about is called Call of the Seasons, and it's probably the oldest metal composition that still remains. I have tons of them that are older than that, but Call of the Seasons is the first metal song that I was actually happy with and that I judge is good enough to keep for the album. And so it might be the oldest song. There's also another one, but it was not written for metal, so that doesn't count. Call of the Seasons remains the oldest metal track that I will probably ever publish. Call of the Seasons is very similar in vibe to Autumn's Heart, but I do believe that it has some kind of different flavor to it. It's probably the most uplifting metal piece that I've ever written, and I really like it for that reason, because I tend to write really dramatic things with like my characters die eaten by wolves, and there's like I don't know, like they die in the snow and in the cold, lonely, and anyways, I write really dramatic stuff, and this one is actually the opposite. It has a very kind of hopeful and uplifting vibe, and for that reason I think it really contrasts with the other songs that I have, and it's also why I like it so much. I think it has that really special place in my heart also from being the first piece that I was like happy with, and when it comes to metal at least, it was the first piece that I was like, I think that this is worth producing at some point. And there we are a couple of years later, and I'm picking it up again, hoping that it will end up on the album. Alright, so I'm gonna show you the song and what it sounds like so far. There's a lot of work that's been already done to it, but we're gonna jump into that right after I show you a little bit of the vibe. The vibe of this song. It's super uplifting and it has that nostalgic kind of tone, and that's really what I love about it. So basically last week what I did with this song is I re-recorded and rewritten the entire harp, because when I wrote this song I did put some harp on it, and some of the parts were really cool and I kept them, but they are a very small minority because I was basically just playing back the theme melody on the harp and playing octaves, which basically I thought that it was a bit boring and a bit uncreative. Like it didn't bring anything to the piece, and it was basically just the harp doubling something else. And I want the harp to have a bigger place in my music, as much as I can at least. And so I've decided to write some harp parts that have a little bit more texture, a little bit more things going on, and I'm really happy with what it sounds like. I'm also really happy with the ending when it comes to the harp part. I just want to play it for you really quick. It's not the most well-played glissando part, but you kind of get the idea. I really like to try to explore around the harp and like push the harmony and push what I can play on it and add that kind of effect. And I think that I have glissandos 2 times in this song, and I don't usually put a lot of those because I feel like they're very muddy, like there's a lot of resonances and it's really hard to make sound good in a recording. But I do think that there is probably something to do with that, and though it's not sounding really perfect right now, that's the idea that I have, and I might like go ahead and have that for the final. Alright, so that's pretty much what I've been working on in the past week or so when it comes to the album, and it's making some progress. I'm really happy about it. It's not as quick as I would like, but at least we're going in a nice direction. I'm really happy with how things are going. Going forward, what I would like to be working on is finish up Call of the Seasons, because I'm that close to finishing everything with this song. I just need to write the sheet and probably do a couple of more changes on the harp, but other than that, I think that the pre-prod will probably be done. So it's super exciting, and it's a really long process. Like, I've only started showing you some of the journey, but this song like was written years and years ago. I can't even remember when I wrote this. So the process is like over the course of many years, and though I was not like super dedicated to like making this one song and finishing it up, I can still say that like you're catching these songs that I'm showing right now at a very like late stage in the process, and that's super exciting also because I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. For the next week, I'll probably also be recording some vocals for Beyond the Lies again and try to have something a little bit better. I don't know if I can, but we're gonna try and we're gonna see what happens with that. And that's pretty much the plan that I have, and if I have more time, I might actually jump and tackle the next song in the list of priority, because we have a list of which songs we should be working on first and which ones are the closest to be ready. And so I'm working on them kind of in order, so it's relatively systematic. So I'm super excited. I hope I can start tackling a new song this week, but like my focus will be on those 2 songs, finishing them up properly, because Beyond the Lies is a track that I want to use for another video that I'm working on that I hope to be releasing either next week or the week after, which is the behind the scenes of the photo shoot that I've done for the album, and I'm super excited to show this one. The team has been super kind, and they filmed a lot of behind the scenes footage from their phones and stuff, and I've put everything together. The video is ready, but I really want to use Beyond the Lies as the backing track for this video. So you guys will have the occasion to hear it, hopefully, unless I just don't manage to make a proper demo version of this. With that said, if you want to make sure you don't miss the behind the scene videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you get notified when I post new videos. I've recorded this entire video before I knew about that, but I've actually been invited to join a platform that is called Visio and allows me to make personalized videos for you guys, because I wish that I was able to respond to every single question and every single comment, and I try my best to do that, but it's not always possible, and Visio is actually allowing me to create custom videos for you guys. And so if you're interested in, if you want to know something specific, you want me to review your vocals, or you just have a question that you really want me to respond, then I can make a custom video for you. So if you want to go and check it out, I will leave a link in the description box down below. So yeah, maybe I see you over there. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave me a thumbs up, because that's the best way for you to let YouTube know that my videos are worth recommending to more people and are worth being seen. So if you want to do that for me, I would super appreciate it. Also, let me know in the comments down below which of the 3 songs you like best so far. I would really love to see your opinion. If you want to watch more content from me, I will leave my reaction videos right there, and I will be leaving some of my covers right there so you can go and check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one.